Hi, in today's video I'm going to be covering Emacs and MPV. Did you know that MPV has a JSON interface that allows you to control the player using an external program and also get information about the currently playing video? As well as that, there is a MPV package for Emacs that makes it easy to control MPV using Emacs, and this is primarily used to edit subtitle files. However, there's a major problem with this package, and that is that it doesn't support milliseconds. The way this package works is that it uses org timers to actually seek to a point in the video, and org timers don't support milliseconds. So I decided to fix that issue. So what I'm going to do is come across to Emacs here, and what we've got here is a series of time codes that correspond to the cuts in Big Buck Bunny, the video. So in a previous video I showed you a script I'd written using ffmpeg to do scene detection, so it will show you all the scene cuts in a video and give you the timestamps of those cuts. And that's what this is. These are all the timestamps of the cuts, and as you can see here, this is the format we're working with. Hours, minutes, seconds, and then milliseconds. Now, as I said, the issue is that by default the mpv.el and org timers round everything up to seconds. They don't support milliseconds. So I decided to fix that, and this is what this video is about. So what I'm going to do is, in an org document, after installing the MPV package, I'm going to run mpv play, and I'm going to run Big Buck Bunny. Okay, what we've got here is Big Buck Bunny open, and what I'm going to do is put this side by side, if I can. Put these two side by side. Right, okay. Right. So now what we've got here is Big Buck Bunny on the right, and we've got Emacs on the left. So first of all, what I'm going to do is, what I'm using is Hydra, which is a Emacs package that allows you to create a mode that you can enter using a keyboard shortcut. When you're in that mode, all your keyboard shortcuts will not be used by Emacs. They'll be purely used by this mode. So what I'll do is, if I press F2 on the keyboard and now press space, you'll see that the video is playing. I've got, this is focused here. Oh. Right, okay. So let me just press F2 again, space. As you can see, Emacs has got focus. I'm not focused on MPV, so all the keyboard shortcuts here are going from Emacs through the JSON interface to control MPV. So what you can see down here is these are the keyboard shortcuts I've got, which are hjkl, space, I and Q. And the hjkl are keyboard shortcuts that allow me to fast forward and rewind the video, and space will pause it and Q will quit it, and I will insert a timestamp into the Emacs document. So if I press space again, you can see that's playing. I can now press, see, I'm pressing H, go back, which goes back 5 seconds, L goes forward 5 seconds, K goes forward 60 seconds, J goes back 60 seconds. As you can see, I'm controlling this video using Emacs, and I can pause it now. So what the next step is I have these timestamps here. So let me just come out of the mode. So when we're in the this Hydra mode, the way we escape out of the mode and go back to Emacs is by pressing a key that is not in the mode. So you can see here, these are all the keys that are defined in this mode to allow us to control Emacs, MPV rather. If I press any key on the keyboard that isn't listed here, it will return me back to Emacs and enter exit this mode. So if I just press like X, you can see now that I'm back in Emacs here. And so what I'm going to do now is show you how I can jump to these time frames to the millisecond. So what I've got here is a keyboard shortcut I've defined, which runs the mpv seek to position function that comes with mpv.el, and that's a function that I've modified together with org timers so that we can jump to a position in the video to the millisecond. So as you see here, I pressed Control X, comma, which is the keyboard shortcut I've defined. If I come across to MPV and press O on the keyboard, that's going to bring up the on-screen display and show you the time position. So you can see here the time position 11875. That corresponds to this. So now, if I come down here, let's go 667. So we go to 1 minute 0.667. Come across, as you can see here, 1 minute 667. So as I can continue jumping to these positions, that seems to be off by 1. There we go. Let's try it again. Well, it should be. I think it's. We just go back to the beginning. There's always something going to go wrong in a demo, so let's do that again. So we go 917. You can see 1 minute 43.917. There we go. 666. I think it may just be because I'm moving the cursor about and it's sort of moving it a frame forward. Let me just come down here again. Switch here. 958. So it's sort of off by 1 here, and that may be because I did this with a different video, and this is a different copy of Big Buck Bunny. But basically, what this allows us to do is to seek to a position in the video to the millisecond. So let's see there. And of course it's going to be off by 1 when I'm doing the demo, but normally it's bang on. So let me try that again. 542. I don't know why it's off by 0.1, but it does actually work. It's just obviously in a demo something's going to go wrong. So let's try that again. 375. Yeah, there we go. 375. So that's how we can seek to a position in the video in hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. So what I'm going to do is come back here and move on to the next thing, which is subtitles. So I can quit this video. If I run F2 and press Q, you can see that it's actually quit that video. So what I'm going to do now is open up Night of the Living Dead, which is a public domain video. So I run mx mpv play and Night of the Living Dead. Okay. And what I need to do is just put this back into tiled mode so you can see them side by side. And what I'll do is jump to these positions in the videos in the subtitles. So the way this works is you have to use this from within an org document, and you can't just open a video like on the command line with MPV and then control it with Emacs, because the package sets up this enables this JSON interface, and the that's got to be started so that you can actually control it. So what I've got here is as you can see, that's now playing. What I can do, if I switch back here, exit that, is that I can jump to these positions in the video. So let's search for Barbara. Barbara, they're coming to get you, Barbara. Okay, the classic line from Night of the Living Dead. So what I can do is I can position the playhead here and then hit the keyboard shortcut, which is that I've defined, which is Control X, comma. And as you can see here, that's the point in the video. So if I run F2,
they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah. So that what this allows us to do is use subtitle files to actually search through a video for a particular point. Obviously, you need something with subtitles. A lot of videos on things like YouTube and stuff have auto-generated subtitles that could be used for this purpose. But basically, what it allows you to do is jump to the position. So you can see here I'm still in the mode because I've got the little hydra at the bottom. I can press space.
Here he comes now. Look.
I can go backwards like this. And to exit the hydra, I'll just press any key that's not listed there. So I'll just press X while I'm in Emacs, obviously. So and if I come back here, I can press Control X, comma, and it's going to jump to that spot in the video. So what this allows you to do is one of the purposes of this package is to actually edit subtitle files, so that you can actually go through the video, go to the time stamp in the video, and then actually fix the subtitles. So if they're sort of incorrect. So there we go. We can come across there, and you can see here. This is a SRT subtitles file that I've embedded into an org document. So this is the important thing. This only works when you're in an org document. Okay, so you're just like in a scratch buffer or a plain text file. It's not going to work. And again, you have to start MPV using mpv play from the org file, so that it sets up the JSON interface to allow you to control MPV using Emacs. So here again, we can sort of come across to any point. Let's see. You could basically use this for searching for a particular point in the video that's mapped out in the subtitles, like I'm coming to get you, Barbara. We can come into here when we can press F2 space. It's going to start playing.
A lot more of them as soon as they find out about.
Press space again to pause it. As you can see, we're still in the mode here. So as long as we've got a little bit down here listed, that means we're still in the hydra, and all the keyboard shortcuts are going straight to MPV. So basically the way it works is I press F2, that enables the mode, and then I have the MPV keyboard shortcuts that I've defined, that are basically Vim keyboard shortcuts, hjkl, which allow me to navigate through the video just by pressing hjkl. So I don't have to, once I'm in the mode, I don't have to press some esoteric keyboard shortcut every time. So I don't have to press, Control X, Control C, G, X, whatever, which wouldn't work. So what I wanted was a way to enter a mode that would allow me to use the MPV keyboard shortcuts just as I would normally in MPV here. So you can see here, I'm going through the video, do the same thing with Emacs here. So that's the gist of what we're basically doing here. Is we can control MPV using Emacs and then also jump to particular time points in here. So what I'm going to do is I want to delete that there. So now the other thing that I wanted to show you here. So this is the subtitles here, and you can see I put the subtitles in an org document in a example block of code here, and what we had, and this was the timers for Big Buck Bunny, which were basically scene detection. These were all the time points in the Big Buck Bunny, and I think the reason why this was slightly off is because what I did was I had the video was a it depends also on the format of the video. So H.264 video is better to use, and I think what the issue is why it was slightly off is because I had a WebM version, which is like an MKV container, so it'd be like Opus video, and that's not as accurate as MPV, as H.264 rather. So the other thing that I wanted to cover is actually how we can insert a time code. So suppose I want to actually mark out a position in this video. So what I want to do is mark out a particular range that I'm interested in the video, and I want to get the time code. So what I've got here is I've got MPV focused here, and what I'm going to do is use the comma and dot keys, which allow you to move backwards and forwards in a frame. So I can move forwards here. So let's just find him when he's just about to hit the nail or something. So let's just say, for argument's sake, we want this particular frame. So what I can do is if I run F2 and then I, what you'll see is it's inserted the time code here in hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. I'll just bring that up here. Let me see, that's 350. So it's just lopped off the zero basically. But that's how I can actually get the time code from the current frame in MPV, which is particularly useful if you're wanting to go through a video and mark out particular points. Now, the other thing that this allows you to do is use org timers. So this is based on org timers, which by default only support seconds. So as I said, what I did was I've modified an overridden functions from mpv.el and the org timers file so that they support milliseconds. And what you can also do is have a sort of like org timer format. So I think it's like this. Okay, so what you also have is this supports org timers format. So if I come across here, and what you need, the way this works is you need to be, if I go into insert mode here and now run F2, can I do this? If I can remember to get this working, it's a bit finicky. Let me see if I can get it to work. So I'm in insert mode here, and if I do MPV insert playback position, of course it won't work for me during the demo, is it? But there's basically a way where you can get this to insert the org timers. I think this is the sort of the syntax, but I say I just had difficulty to actually getting it to work because you had to have the position sort of had to be at its. If I can get this to work, it's just a bit finicky to use. I've got insert mode there, mpv insert playback position. No, of course it was working earlier on. As soon as I do the demo, it's decided to throw a wobbly. So this is the package, and what I'm going to do is actually go through and show you how I managed to get this to override the defaults. So this is the package, and if we come across to the wiki, what we've got here is okay, this is the time format, so let's just see if we can copy that and get it to work. Was it meta return? Okay, let me just come back, see if I can get this to work. Okay. Right, no. I think what you had to do was, there we go, that's it. Right, so the trick was, after all that, what you got to do is press meta and return when you're in a org timer list. What this will allow you to do is it's going to create a list here with the time code followed by here, and then you can write a description, so like hitting hammer. Okay, and what I found the trick is you need to move this forward. Let me just see if I can move this forward. Right, so you can see there it's got something empty. So what I found is you've got to be in insert mode at the beginning, and then if I do meta and return, it's not going to do anything. But look, I got it working once. So that's the weird thing about this is it was a bit finicky getting the actual playhead position in. So we're going to do it again. No, see, I'm pressing meta return there, but it's putting in the headings. So I'm in insert mode, and if I do that, you can see it's coming up empty. So that's one thing I found a bit weird. It was a bit finicky getting this to work with the all timers list. It was a bit hit and miss. So let me try it again. See, it's just coming up empty here. So let me just try it one more time. mpv insert playback position. You can see that it's just inserting it normally. So there were some sort of weird gotchas that I found with this. So let me just try it again. Now it's working. As you can see. Right, let me try it again. You can see the way that sometimes when you have the cursor in one place it works, and then you've got to play it in somewhere else and it doesn't. You know, sod's law. So if I go into insert mode here and try it, no. So it was really kind of weird getting this to work. Maybe the playhead needs to be there. No. This demo's going well. So that was one thing I found a bit confusing. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Actually inserting the playhead position with an org timer was a bit hit and miss. But actually just inserting the timestamp normally was fine. So I can just press F2 and then I, and you can see there it's inserted the current timestamp. I'll press another key there to exit that. So that's how we can. So I can actually, let me just come back here, and what I can do is with the cursor on the point here, I can press Control X, comma, and it should jump back to that exact same position. Okay, there you go. So what this is really useful for is actually marking out positions in a video that you're interested in, that you might want to do some work on. So, for example, I've got lots of scripts that trim videos to the millisecond, extract audio, or create screenshots, and these all work with things that timestamps that support milliseconds. So what this allows me to do is actually go through a video and mark out position to the video that I'm interested in, what I want to make clips from, or I want to extract a frame from. So I can use this to basically, extract this frame, or define a range I want to work with. So that's the gist of it. So what I'm going to do is I'll just press F2 here again. You can see space. And I can quit this video by pressing Q. So I've got MPV focused, and if I press Q on the keyboard, it's going to quit the video like that. And then I can press a key that's not listed here to exit the hydra and come back into emacs. So what I'm going to do now is actually come across and go through the code and show you how this works. So let me come back to all this stuff. Okay, right, this is this section here is the default mpv-el code that they suggest in the wiki. So if I come across to the wiki here, what you see is they suggest putting in this block of code and this block of code here, and that's what this is. So this is just the code from the wiki that allows you to insert a new item with the timestamp of the current play position in a org list. Now this is the sections that I had to modify. So first of all, what we have is this mpv insert playback position. Now the original bit of code, if I come across here to the actual file, if I can find it. So what am I looking for? Insert playback position. Okay. Insert playback position. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, here. So what you see here is this bit down here, org timer seconds to HMS, which is hours, minutes, seconds, round time. So that was the first issue. What it's doing is it's rounding the time up. So if you've got 10.5 seconds, or say 10.6 seconds, what this is going to do by default is it's going to round the time up to 11 seconds. So this is the first bit of code we need to change. We need to change round time to float time. So float time is obviously going to give us the time in a float format without it being rounded up. So that's the first thing I had to fix. So next thing here is mpv seek to position at point. Okay, so what you'll see here is this block of code here is a regular expression. And if I come across here, okay, mpv seek to position at point, you can see this is the default regular expression here. So what you can see is it's matching this time code. The time code is in hours, minutes, seconds, separated by a colon. So we've got 00:00:00. What we need to do is alter this to also optionally match dot and then series of numbers. And the way we do that is what we've got here is a group. So this is the new block of code. And what you'll see here is this is contained inside this. This is a group here. And what we've got is, first of all, we're optionally matching a period. So we're matching the period here, and the question mark means it will either match it if it's there, or if not, it doesn't care. Then what we have is this 0 to 9 sort of curly braces, 0, 3. And what that means is match 0 to 9 digits either 0 times or up to 3 times. So we want, the format we want is dot 1, 2, 3, for example, you know, as the time code. But we want that to be optional because we may have a text file that doesn't have milliseconds in, and we still want that to work. So this block of code that I've shown you, this regular expression, is can either match stuff or not match stuff, if that makes sense. So the question mark means it can either match the dot or not match the dot, and it can either match digits after the dot or not. So that was the second thing I had to change, was the regular expression that's actually sort of kicking in. And then after that, what we've got is, this is the keyboard shortcut, Control X, comma, that then runs the mpv seek to position at point. And basically what that is that's your cursor's position in the org file document over a timecode point. So when your cursor is in an org document over a timecode and you press Control X, comma, it's going to jump to that position in the video. Right, now the next thing here, this was the bugger. The mpv.el package uses org timers to basically convert sexagesimal, I never pronounced the bloody thing, hours, minutes, seconds in 00:00:00 format to seconds and milliseconds. So this was the next issue that I had. What we've got here is, first of all, we've got seconds to hours, minutes, and seconds. So what we're doing here is, also the other thing is, what we're doing to override this, what you can see here in a lot of these blocks of code is we've got this defun section here where we're sort of defining the function, org timer seconds to hours, minutes, seconds. But above that, what we have with eval after load org timer. Basically what this means is, after org timer has loaded, evaluate this block of code. And what this block of code does is it's named exactly the same as the function in the org timer. Basically what we're doing is we're loading org timer, then we're evaluating this block of code, and this function is going to replace the existing function that comes with org timer. So that's how we override the function in the org timer. So what this is actually doing is, this is taking in the float. So as you can see here, this mpv insert playback position, I modified it to use float time. Okay, so that's going to be a number. Float is a number. Okay, so the first thing that we're doing here, this is a block of code that I've actually added here. All this is my custom code. What we're doing, first of all, is we're setting a variable x, and you can see here, s is the sort of argument that's passed into this function. So this is the float time that's passed into this. So this is like, you know, 00:00, you get the gist, which is in a float number. So it's a number. And what we're going to do first of all is we're going to create a variable called x, and we're going to convert that float number to a string. Okay, so we're converting, let me just come to the scratch so I can show you. So what we're doing is we have something in this format, yeah, so hours, minutes, seconds, dot milliseconds. Okay, So this is the format we're working with. This is the float. And what we need to do is convert this float into a string. Okay, so that's the first thing we're doing. And what you can see here on this second line, seconds car split string x dot, right? What that means is you have car and cadra, and what these correspond to is splitting something on the left or on the right. So what we're doing, come to the scratch, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to split this time string at the decimal point. The reason for that is because we need to do calculations on it to sort of convert it from hours, minutes, seconds to seconds and back and forth. So we need to work just with this section here. So what we need to be able to do is split at this point so that we have this format and this format for the milliseconds. So we've got this format and then this format. So what we're doing is we're splitting the float at the point. And so seconds is the stuff before the decimal point, and milliseconds is after. Okay, so car split string x period, that's going to store the seconds before the period, and milliseconds is going to using cadra, if that's how you pronounce it, it's going to store the milliseconds after the period. Okay, so let me just, so this is, we're splitting, so we've got that seconds and that's milliseconds. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. But then what we've got to do is we've got to convert that string back to a number. So what we're doing is we're creating another variable called sec, and we're saying string to number seconds. So it's converting string back to a number, and then what we do is we do ms string to number milliseconds, and that's converting the milliseconds back from a string to a number. Now this is the sort of standard code where it's actually doing the calculations of sort of converting the seconds to hours, minutes and milliseconds. So this is the actual maths. And the one thing that I did down here was, you can see I've added this dot %2d ms down here. These are my bits, and what basically that does is that prints out stuff in, as you can see here, these are all like 2 decimal points, colon 2 decimal points, colon 2 decimal points, dot decimals, and that basically, and that basically is this format. So that's going to basically output stuff in this format: 2 zeros, colon 2 0, you know, 2 numbers, colon dot, and then 3 digits. So that's what we needed to accomplish to actually get the output format. Then, if that wasn't enough, we've got to do the reverse. We've got to do hours, minutes, seconds to seconds. So my original thing was, okay, let me just kind of take this block of code that I've got here and sort of shove it somewhere in this block of code. Unfortunately, that didn't work. So what I did was, we have a look down here. We've got this stuff saying like string to number match 1 HMS, 2 HMS, 3 HMS. And what that does is that is corresponding to these regular expression groups. So what you can see here is we have, these are groups. Yeah, we've got one group there. We've got another group here. And finally, this is my custom group at the end. So what I figured out was that these basically correspond to regular expression groups. So the first 0, 0, colon is hours, the second is minutes, the third seconds. Yeah, so if I come back to scratch, so that's the first group, that's the second group, that's the third group, and this is going to be my fourth custom group. So let's come back to here. So as you can see, hours corresponds to this section down here, this group, and then we've got a colon, then we've got the second group, we've got the third group. So what I figured out was, well, if I just stick on another regular expression here, that's optional. So what you can see is we're using the same thing here, the same bit of regular expression. So we're saying in this group, match a period, and we're using the question mark so that it will match it or won't match it. So if there is a question, if there's a period there, it will match it. If not, no big deal. Then again, what we're doing is we're saying 0 to 9, match 0 or 3 occurrences of that. So this group, this regular expression group, is entirely optional. It can either match milliseconds or not match milliseconds. So then basically it was just a matter of adding this in here. So we've got ms string to number match string for HMS. So that's the fourth regular expression group that we're then matching. Now, the next thing was, you can see all this addition here. If sign minus 1 plus s times 60 plus m, all that stuff. So the next thing I had to figure out was, where does this, how do I add, what I want to be able to do is do the maths and then simply add on the milliseconds, yeah? So if I just switch back to Scratch, essentially what I'm doing is sort of doing the math here, and then all I want to be able to do is, once the math's done, just add on the milliseconds. And the way we do that is by actually sticking it here. So as you can see here, we've got plus s and then plus ms. So that's how I figured out how to actually add on the milliseconds to the maths that's kicking in there. And then finally what we've got is the actual hydra. And this is another package. As I said, this allows you to create a mode that you can enter that will then intercept all the keyboard shortcuts and send them to mpv. So what we've got here is hydra, and first of all we say define hydra, and what we're doing is we're giving it a name, hydrodash mpv. We give it a global map, which in this case is F2. It's actually really difficult to find keyboard shortcuts in Emacs that aren't already used, and this is one of the few that wasn't. And then what we have here is the keyboard shortcut and then the function. So what you can see here is we've got H, which is mpv seek backwards -5, so it's going to seek back -5 seconds. J is going to seek backwards -60 seconds. K is going to seek forward 60 seconds. And L is going to seek forward 5 seconds. Then after that, what we've got is capital SPC, which is the space bar, and we run the mpv pause function with that. Then after that, what we have is I, and what that does is that runs the mpv insert playback position, which is the function I showed you up there that I modified, and that's going to insert the playback, the current playback position in hours, minutes, seconds format into Emacs. And then finally what we've got down here is Q for mpv kill, which will basically kill the video, stop the video. Now the other thing is, I just want to mention, there is a way to advance forward and backward frames using the comma and the period in Emacs, and those functions are called frame back step and frame step. Now what I did was by defining those as comma and dot, and then in this mpv there is a run command. Yeah, so what we got here, we've got this thing, mpv-run-command, command and rest arguments. And what I was trying to do, and it worked once, and then for some reason I couldn't get it to work again, was basically have mpv-run-command frames back step and frame step. But for some reason, once I got it working and then tried it again, it didn't work. So that's one thing that I haven't managed to sort of fix and get working again. But when I did actually get it to work, it didn't work exactly the same as in MPV. In MPV, when you press the comma or period, what it will do is it will move a frame forward and pause. And what I found in Emacs was it would move a frame forward or backwards, but it wouldn't pause. So, you know, that's a case where you actually got to switch to MPV to, you know, move forward or backwards a frame. So that's the actual code. So, again, quick little recap over that. So, first of all, we've got the default code here. Then what we had to do was we've got the input, the MPV insert playback position. The thing I had to do was change round time to float time. And then after that, what we had to do was define the MPV seek to position at point. And what we had to do there was actually alter the regular expression so that it also matches milliseconds, basically. So that was one thing there. Then what we had to do was we had to modify the org timers. And again, we had to add this block of code so that it will split on the period, store it in seconds and milliseconds, do the maths, and then output the format with dot and then the milliseconds. And then again, after that, what we had was the org timer as minutes to seconds. And again, what we did was we modified the regular expression, create a fourth regular expression group. And that is what we've got down here, ms match string 4 HMS, and that's the fourth regular expression. And then once we did that, what we had to do was figure out how do we append the milliseconds on to the actual maths that's being run, and so do the maths and then just simply append the milliseconds after it's done that. And then again, what we had after that, we've got the hydra. So that's how that all works, and let's come back to this. So the key to this is you can't start a video outside of Emacs and control it. Okay, so if you come across and actually look at this, if we come down here, what you can see, this MPV start section here, what it's actually doing is it's actually creating a socket file, and you can see here, this example here in the MPV documentation about the JSON interface, it's showing you how you can use SOCAT to actually send and receive data to that socket to control MPV or get information out from MPV. So this is the important thing. You can't, because just regularly playing a video with MPV, it doesn't create the socket that is needed to control it. So that's why you've got to actually be in MPV, in Emacs, inside an org document. You have to be in an org document and start MPV from the org document. So let's go back. So MPV play, do MPV here, big bunny, and again what I'll do is let me just move this bugger. Right, okay, so we got this open. Now what I'll do is if I just drop down the terminal here quickly and run lsl temp, what you should see is MPV here. You can see MPV-run-command mpv-4qwgha. That's the socket that's been created that we can actually control mpv from and get data from mpv. So that's the socket that's basically created when we run mpv play in Emacs. So now this is open, I can press F2 space, and you can see now it's playing. You can see here, this is Emacs has got focus, yeah, but as you can see, I can't interact with Emacs, like move up and down a line, because I'm inside this hydra mode where all the keyboard shortcuts are bypassing Emacs and being sent to the mpv socket to allow us to control mpv using Emacs the same way we would just regularly. So I can start it, I can go forward. See, I'm just like this, just the same as if I had focus here. So you can see I've got focus here, and I'm running seeking back, seeking forward, like that. I can do exactly the same thing here. So Emacs has got focus, you can see. I'm using the same keyboard shortcuts to actually control what's the thing? mpv. So I'm doing exactly the same thing, and you can see here we're in the hydra here, and you can see it's like H and J is minus, like listing the keys here. There are ways to supposedly sort of improve that to make it look a bit more like which key. So it will actually say, you know, H go back, L go forward, that sort of stuff. But I haven't quite got into that. The main thing was to actually get it working, as opposed to, you know, getting a pretty display, because I know what the keys are because I set them up, right? So I can move back and forwards like that. Pause and play. But as I said, the one thing I haven't got is the I haven't got the step forward and backwards working. So you can see here, if I press period, it's going forward. If I press J, it's going comma, it's going back. So I haven't got that working in Emacs for some reason. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit this mode by pressing a key that is not listed here. So any key that's not on the keyboard that's not listed here, so like D, and that releases me from the hydra mode, and and allows me to go back into Emacs. Now, if I wanted to jump to these positions in the video, I press Control X, comma. So Control X, comma. Yeah, move down, Control X, comma. So I can come down. Oops. So I can come down to all of these different points, and these should all be. For some reason, it's 0.1 off on some of these things, but I think that, as I said, I think that may be because I'm using a WebM video as opposed to a H.264 video or whatever, or I did this with a different video or whatever. But it was working bang on before I did this, and you can see it's doing it in some cases. So if I come across here, 125, okay. But basically it means I can jump to any of these positions really easily, like that. So suppose I want to take this as a screenshot. So another thing that I was looking at is defining a keyboard shortcut you could click to take the screenshot, but there's it's got like a screenshot input mode or something in mpv, and I couldn't quite figure out how to get that to work. But I can just come across to mpv here, click S on the keyboard, and what it's going to do is actually take a screenshot. So if I come across here and should have mpv-shot, skiv mpv-shot, and you'll see that's the shot, that's the frame, identical frame. So what it allows me to do is actually sort of mark out bits of video across there. So oh yeah, that's a nice thing. S bang, screenshot it again. skiv mpv. Yep. Get the gist. So that's how we can jump to different time points, and also how we can just come on. So I can also run, if I run meta-x mpv-insert playback position, that's going to insert the playback position and do it that way. Or that's too long-winded having to type that out. What I just do is do F2-I, done. Inserted the playback position there. And what this is particularly useful for is marking out clips that you want to create. For example, you want to go through and create different clips. It makes it really easy to get the timestamps into an org document. And what I'll show you in future videos is how you can actually run scripts in org mode to actually trim the video using timestamps. So you can actually run shell scripts from within an org document using org babel. And what we can do is we can actually use that. So normally what I'd do is if I'm trimming something, I'd I'd like got a script called trim video, so I'd like run trim, I think it's trim clip -h, type properly, trim clip -h, and this is the script that I wrote using ffmpeg that allows us to trim to the milliseconds. See here, there's the format this wants, and normally what I'd have to do is like trim clip -s, come across here, what's the time, make a note of the time, okay, it's 00.03 whatever, but what I can actually do is actually run that script from within Emacs, and now what I can do is actually grab the time codes that I'm interested in and use them to actually trim videos or create a screenshot or extract audio, all sorts of different things. So that's one of the uses for it. So the other one thing I should mention is what you need to do is come into mpv, mpv config, mpv config. Okay. And what you need to do is add OSD-fractions to your mpv.config file. And what that will do is that will actually show the milliseconds in the on-screen display of mpv. So you can see here, .333. If I also open a okay, so as you can see here in the terminal, probably a bit better, what you can see, the time format, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Yeah. So that's how you get the on-screen display of milliseconds in both the terminal and the player with MPV. So that's the gist of this, is that we've got the JSON interface for MPV, and then we've got the mpv.el script package rather, and the way you install that is obviously mx package install mpv. Once you've done that, what you're going to need to do is let me come back to my init.el. So this is the custom code, and this is the code that it's recommending on the wiki, this block of code here. And this is the custom overrides we've got. We've got mpv, and you can see with eval after load mpv, we're redefining the function. We're changing it to float time from round time. And again, mpv seek to position at point. So we've got two mpv functions. We've got insert playback position, which inserts the playback position into org document. And then we've got seek to position at point, which allows us to seek to a position in the video that are cursors over a timestamp in Emacs. And again, what we've got there is we've got the keyboard shortcut Control X comma, which runs the mpv seek to position at point, so that basically when we're over a timestamp, which can also be as a subtitle file, as I showed you, it will seek to that position at, in the video. And then this is the org timers again that we had to redefine. Basically, I had to rewrite this from scratch. And thing is, I don't know Lisp at all. I haven't got a clue about Lisp. Never used it in my life before, but I knew what the problem was. I knew what I needed to do. I knew that. I knew the maths. I knew the regular expressions to match the strings. So I knew what I needed to do. It's just what the syntax was. Where does the stuff go? You know. So after a bit of, well, about a week of blundering about, I finally managed to get it to work. So there may be, you know, a few things that could do with a few tweaks, I'm sure. But, you know, as you can see, it does actually work. And then we've got the timers where we had to convert from hours, minutes, seconds to seconds, and seconds to hours, minutes, and seconds. And then we've got the hydra to actually control that. So it's a good learning experience. A bit frustrating at times to actually trying to Google for some of this stuff. I just couldn't find anything, you know, like stumped on how do I match, you know, how do I split a string and store hours, minutes, and seconds before the period in one variable, and you know, store the milliseconds after the period. That took a bit of working out, but finally got there, and it does the job. So you can basically just add that to your emacs file or your init.el. And as I said, I did find the org timers a bit flaky. Some reason it didn't always work. So let me just try that again. So mpv play living dead. Is it? I think it was webm. Let's webm. Okay. Right. Okay, and we just put that here. So these are again, this is the subtitles. So one use for this, as I said, and I was kind of inspired by this by a video by Sasha Chura. She was demonstrating how she used this package to actually fix subtitles on Emacs conferences. So I'll show you a video and blog post dot files that you might want to have a look at. But basically, what you can do is you can use you can either use this to fix subtitles, or if you've got auto-generated subtitles, you can actually use those to scan through the video for a particular phrase. So Barbara. So how the hell do you spell Barbara? Well, coming to get you, Barbara. There we go. So I want to skip to this bit. Cursor on the timestamp, Control X, comma, bang, done. So this is particularly useful, as I said, you've got long videos, and you have the automatically generated subtitles, and the other thing is it just works with local files as far as I know. I think Sasha Chua may have tweaked it so that she can use it with external files. I'm not sure, but you can use this to, you know, if the spelling was wrong, you could change it, but you can also use this to actually jump to a position in the file. So it's a good way. Okay, like stop it, you're acting like a child. And I can do F2 space.
Stop it! You're acting like a child!
They're coming.
Stop that, and I can press a key that's not in my hydra, so T, okay. Come down here, jump to this position.
Are you?
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny!
Okay, so it's really really powerful way of actually being able to control MPV and using timestamps to either use with other scripts or just jump around in the video. So if I just come across here, just quit that. So F2Q, I'm going to quit. And that's one thing I wanted. I can just press another key there. Okay, so let me just come across here and see if I can come back to my. Okay, there's Sasha Chua on YouTube. Okay, there we go. And so these were a couple of videos editing subtitles and tinkering with stream notes and subtitles that I had a look at. And basically it's where she's using this package to actually edit the subtitles files. And if I come across again, I think it's this one. No. We come back and just search for it. Sasha. Sorry, how do I spell your name? Right. SAC. Files, I think, something like that. Emacs configuration, yeah, .emacs, this one here. If you come across here and search for MPV, what you see, she's got this hydra she's defined, and this allows her to seek into the video, and basically it's used to sort of search for subtitles and go back to different subtitles, that sort of thing. Come across here, you can see there's lots. So basically what it's doing is allowing it to sort of jump to subtitles timestamps. So I'll have a look at that. I haven't quite got my head around what she's doing there, but very impressive. That's where I kind of got the idea from this for this to actually, you know, look at the MPV package. But as I said, the issue was that basically it didn't support milliseconds, so that was something I actually wanted to fix, and it took a bit of a while to figure out, especially since I don't know any Lisp at all. But just looking at the code, I could kind of vaguely make out what it did, and after a bit of blundering about, managed to get it to work. So we'll just make it more accurate for the purposes I want, which is to actually use it with FFmpeg and my FFmpeg scripts to actually allow me to mark out a region of a video I want to trim, I want to extract something from, and actually define scenes, for example, that I want to create from a video. So that's the mpv-el package. Install it, mx package, install mpv, and then you can basically use the custom bit of code that I've knocked up to enable seeking with milliseconds. So I'll put links to all this under the video, and that's all for now.